funded through New Zealand On Air.
Kia ora mai rā tēnā koutou katoa e Tiwi Web, joined on the air by Alex Sims, an expert in the world of blockchain technologies. Thank you for joining us. Kia ora, Alex. How are you doing?
Good. Kia ora. I'm fine. Thanks.
Very cool. We're also being joined in the studio here by Whitu Marama as well, one of my colleagues. And he's probably going to throw in a couple of questions while we're talking as well. I hope you're having a good day. Sorry about this morning.
No, don't worry, it's fine.
Cool. So I'm just going to read from your bio, if I may. Alex is an associate professor from the Department of Commercial Law and associate at the UCL Centre for Blockchain Technologies. She teaches a wide range of commercial law subjects. Her primary areas of research and publication are on blockchain technology, in particular DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, NFTs, the regulation of cryptocurrencies, and legal issues surrounding smart contracts. So that sounds like we're talking to an expert in the field.
Yeah, it does.
I seem to spend my life talking about these things.
Very cool. Then, so if we can we kick off by just, I guess, defining a couple of terms so that we are on the same page. What are NFTs?
That's a good question. They can mean all sorts of different things, and that's where people get really confused because, you know, when people say, oh, well, they're non-fungible, it's not like money, but the thing is that you can have, and a lot of people think they're just to do with artworks, but they're not. So, they can be used for that, but they can be used for all sorts of different things. And also, instead of just having, say, a one-off, say, a digital artwork, you can have it a bit like a artist that makes holiday prints. There may be 50 of that particular type. So, you've got 50 different ones. So, and sometimes you can be one owner, or you can do it so that there might be, 1,000 sort of tokens in it. And so 1,000 different people could be an owner. Some of them are ones that you can transfer to somebody else, and other ones they can't. They stay with the person. It's almost like whatever you want to do, you can do them. And I think that's maybe where people are becoming unstuck. And also, even with art, they could be for a digital artwork, or there could be a physical artwork, and there's the provenance, so proving, the authenticity of it. So there's no one thing at all. I've actually written something precisely on this to try to help people about NFTs and art. So it really does depend. Right,
that's interesting. So I guess at the basis of this is the blockchain and blockchain technology. Can you help people like us who don't really know a lot understand?
Okay. Well, one of the things so most people have heard about Bitcoin now, which is a digital currency, and it's a currency. And another big one that's often used is Ethereum, which can also be a digital currency, but also some of the NFTs are also stored on the Ethereum blockchain. And sort of one of the differences is that, I'll compare it a little bit, try and help people out, is that, Bitcoin and Ethereum, the actual money, is a bit like, dollars and cents. If I lend you $10, I don't expect to get the same $10 back. Whereas if I have a painting and I lend you that painting, I'd get really annoyed if you gave me back another painting. And what the NFT does is be able to identify, this is this particular one. Right. And why it's really beneficial for some type of artists is that in the past, especially digital artists, they create something and anybody can come and copy it. And they don't know, which is which. Whereas now you can actually, yes, this is my one. I own this particular bit of digital art.
Right. And that's where people find value in it. Is that right?
Yes. Well, this is the thing. Some people say, well, how could it be value? Because you could still, what they call right mouse click and make a copy and then just say, oh, well, I own it. But the same thing happens anyway in the real world. You can go and get a copy of a very famous painting, and you've got a copy on your wall, and it could look almost the same. but there are ways of actually sort of showing your ownership. So, for example, say Nike. Nike are already, and with a whole lot of other companies, already they've released Nike NFT sneakers. So you can own a Nike NFT sneaker, a rare one, it might be one of 100, and you'll go, also what? But increasingly, people will be able to wear them in online worlds like metaverses, and only the true owner that owns it will be able to do that. So people can go, I see your avatar, I see you've got these sneakers on, you own them. But, the metaverse is a whole other thing.
Yeah.
But you can show ownership if you want, and people like to do that. I mean, I just gave a talk last week, and one of the things is that people are strange because, for example, John Lennon had a guitar when he died, and it was sold a few years ago for over $2 million.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Now, someone could go and buy the exact same model and make of guitar, because it wasn't made for them specially, it was just a standard one, and yet it would have cost them about $12,000 US. So why are they paying $2 million for a guitar that looks exactly the same as another guitar?
Right.
Because someone once famous owned it, and that doesn't make any sense. So what we think of value is all constructed anyway.
Right. Okay.
So it's like you're paying for the prestige of
yes,
artists.
exactly. You can say, yes, exactly, I own this. And you can do that with NFTs. You can say, I own this, and people can go, yeah, you own that.
Right. Okay. I think it's making sense now. Thank you for that.
Oh, no, it is. It's not the tech. This is the thing. It's really conceptual.
Yes.
And so people try to get with the technology, but it's got almost nothing to do with technology. I mean, I often when I do talks, I will show a old video from 93 and 94. It's about the internet. And you've got these news anchors from a TV show in the US saying, well, what's internet? Can you explain internet to me? And someone goes, well, it's those computers that you send information to, and someone says, what, do you write to it? What's happening? And so this is the same thing. With the blockchain, everyone's going, oh, my God, but we forget that this is what happened with the internet. But I always say the internet was actually quite simple to understand. It was computers talking. This is far more difficult for people to understand.
Do you think that our kids are going to be able to just, they're going to look at this the same way that our parents looked at the internet, say this is just going to be, they're going to get it, and they're going to look at us kind of like dinosaurs,
Well, it depends. So my son, who is 17, he really doesn't understand it, and he trolls me, and he sends me all these memes about NFTs. And I think actually it's because, and I was thinking back, because I was sort of, maybe a little bit younger than him when the internet sort of came through, and I didn't think it was anything special. And I'm trying to think, why not? Because when I came across blockchain and smart contracts, I went, oh my God, this is amazing. Whereas I didn't do that when I was that age. And so why? And I'm thinking it's because I didn't know how the world worked. And if you know how the world works, and this thing comes along and can solve a whole lot of issues, then it becomes more important. And why I'm saying that is because, the young, I say young ones, but people now, they do everything, electronically on their phones and things like that. And they make a payment and something happens. And they just think that all the payments and all this thing, they all happen automatically.
Yeah.
But what they don't realise is in the background, there's all these systems having to talk to each other. The merchants aren't going to get paid for months. And there's all this really messy stuff in the background. And things like you can't prove who owns what. It's just an absolute nightmare. But things look really simple to them, and so they think that works for them. So they'll just use something without questioning it. Whereas the people that are older, they go, it doesn't fit their mental model, and also because they don't know how. A lot of people think, well, it works, and they also used to the way things work. And when you come along to someone and say, well, actually, this is a whole way of doing something differently, they don't like it because they have to learn something new.
Yep,
most
definitely.
Sense.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing with digital currency as well. How can you have a currency without having banks in the middle? And I think that's one of the things that people like me struggle with.
Oh no, I agree. No, whereas the younger ones,
Yeah, well, don't.
it
Yeah.
does. It makes perfect sense. I've
Yeah.
been going, why? I mean, I remember my daughter who's 19 now. A few years ago, if I owed her some money, she goes, "I don't want money. I don't want cash. Put it into my bank account." I mean, they just don't. It's all digital. It's all digital now, and so I mean, it is actually an existential crisis for banks and for other people. I mean, and when you think about it, I mean, we can send a document around the world just to someone else within a second, but yet with money we can't do. I mean, unless you use a cryptocurrency, you have to have a whole lot of banks and do all this stuff, and it doesn't make sense. And also, while this blockchain technology is sort of new, a lot of these things have been thought about for years. So back, over 20 years ago, the stuff I was researching on, and people were saying, well, we need money on the internet, which we sort of did, but with credit cards, but they're really cumbersome. And also credit cards are terrible for the amount of fraud that goes on. Which we end up paying for, and increased fees and things like that, and increased prices. So it's that missing bit. And the other quick thing with all of this is also identity. So, when you have to go and do something, you've got to prove who you are. It can be a real pain, and actually it's really, from an equity point of view, it's not fair, because some people don't have they find it very difficult to prove who they are because they don't have a bill address that the bills go to and things like that. Well, part of this with blockchain is actually having digital identity, and actually you can use NFTs as part of your digital identity. So, and this is where, I mean, maybe I'm going off track, but say another thing with artists, because that's what a lot of people are looking at, is in the past, artists would make their money a lot by selling, their artwork to other people, and that was sort of it. And especially like musicians don't get paid very much at all. But what they're doing, and what some of them are actually doing, is saying to people, it's a bit like crowdsourcing, well, hey, you want to support me, you buy this NFT, and you can buy it, it may just be for 12 months, and that can then give you access rights to that artist or that performer. You can get discounted tickets, you can do meet and greets, and if you type to a digital identity, that person can't then go and sell it to someone else or transfer it to someone else. So it's more than just about owning a bit of something that people think is valuable. It's far more than that. And in fact, I've got a summer scholarship student who's going to be looking at exactly the issue of how creators and artists are actually using NFTs in their business models to make money, because people are actually, for once in their life, actually making some money to live on.
Yeah, and there are a lot of stories of people making lots of money through NFTs, but there are also some pretty strange ones. The whole Kevin incident, I'm sure you've heard of, has been a big worry for a lot of people as well.
So which one was that, sorry?
Kevin, Pixelmon.
That one. Okay, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
But what you've got to be really, people have to be really careful, because unfortunately there's a lot of either scammers or people that are just completely out of their depth.
Right.
And I actually had a bit of a go it was actually Radio White here, because they had interviewed someone who had bought an NFT, and then it had gone up 10x, as they say.
Right.
And they were talking about building intergenerational wealth and all these things. And that was, no, people are being taken advantage of. And don't do it. Just, if you're going to be buying and selling these NFTs to make money, a few people make some money, but most people don't.
Right.
So as I always say to people, if you want to make money, the best thing to do is learn. Okay, if you know about this area, you will get a job, and it doesn't have to be necessarily in coding. It's about explaining these things to people. There's all sorts of different things. But you're just a mug, and also the worst thing, which I really get upset about, is that influencers and things, they're targeting Māori and Pacific by using Māori and Pacific people to target their friends and people like that.
Yep.
It's a pyramid Ponzi scheme, a lot of it.
Yeah, the first early adopters are the ones who get really into it and make lots of money, and then everyone else who follows sort of doesn't and end
Yeah.
up supplying the first guy.
Yes, exactly. I
Yeah.
mean, but the thing is, there are really good things here. It's
Yep.
not all bad at all.
Yep.
And also these scams and things, it's not unique to
No.
NFTs and blockchain. This is happening all the time, and it happens, and it's just, if someone's saying, oh, I make all this money, don't do it,
Yep.
So they just say no, and it's preying on people. And next time I hear intergenerational wealth, I think I might be assaulting someone. But you know what I mean?
Yes,
I wouldn't do that.
absolutely.
But, it is really, really, really bad. And these people are losing money.
Yeah.
And, no. But saying that, there's really good uses for people to explore, for people to, and it's like this explosion of different, uses that you can use for it.
Yeah, I've seen there's a website called Minds, which is sort of like a social media platform / YouTube kind of mix that use cryptocurrency as the currency for the platform. And so there's lots of stuff happening like that too, which is really, really interesting.
Yes, there's lots of stuff going on.
Yeah.
I mean, but also the other thing is, say someone mentions something to me about some project, the first thing I do is go and put the name in and put warning or scam or something.
Right.
And I mean, it's all there. But I've had people who, honestly, I mean, I don't know why, but who are telling me these things. I'm going, that doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
And of course, it's no,
Yeah,
it's not right.
A lot of it
But
comes
again-
back to that old adage of if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But as I said, use that time, learn about this stuff,
Yep.
and it's really, really interesting. And don't, that's if you've got some money, then there's some good courses that you might get, pay for the money for that. That's
Yep.
what is that thing of give a person a fish, feed themselves for a day, or
Yeah, right.
learn whatever
Yep.
type of thing.
What sort of resources would you recommend to our audience? Like, where can they, other than
That-
just,
well, there's
if you
a
just
lot-
go to the internet, I don't want them to come across
No.
any bad resources or misleading.
What they could do is look at Blockchain NZ.
Blockchain, is it?
That is an industry body. I must admit I'm on that.
Mhm.
And so there's some really good resources on that. There are things, I know, for example, UTS, which is a university in Sydney. They've got some free courses you can do. Is it Coursera? There's the reputable ones. But again, you require sort of some critical thinking, because there are a lot of things which aren't right, and also a lot of stuff is out of date. So a lot of the sort of the things that I end up doing talks on is you get these people who are just saying, you can't do this, or all the blockchain is destroying the planet, or all NFTs are destroying the planet. And no, it depends. There's some that aren't at all. And so it's really nuanced and things. But
Yeah.
Blockchain NZ's good. Anything from a university, a free course would be good. And it's just read. Mainstream media is not very good.
No.
Get on things like LinkedIn. If people are on LinkedIn, and just follow me. I'll send me a meeting invite, and I'll do it. And I sort of post things, and you can see who else I'm connected to. And
Yep.
but the thing with this is, it does take time to learn this.
Yes.
It's not a
Yeah.
thing. Oh, I've read it once, I'm fine.
Yep.
But it will really pay off for people in the long run.
Yeah, because I've been sitting here kind of just in the background listening to everything you're saying, and it is slightly connecting, but I feel like there's still pieces that are missing. So I'm just trying to fill in those gaps and just trying to find the right resources. I just want to know where the right place is to go. Yeah. It is a little bit smarter than I am, so
Oh.
he's got it a bit more under control. But,
Well,
yeah.
it is. That's the trouble. One of the things is I've written quite a bit of stuff for the popular thing. If you just Google my name, Alex Sims, Alexander
Yeah,
Sims,
I found a
and
lecture of yours on YouTube, and I had to listen to that. It was very informative.
Yeah, things like that. I've done one of the things, because I've also written academic stuff, which is probably not the best for people to read, but there's one I've done on regulating cryptocurrencies, and it's a report. It's online. You can download it. But the first sort of 20, 30 pages are just a background to a lot of this. It's a few years old, but just to explain it in simple ways for people to understand. But that's what you need. I don't go into all of the technical detail. And in fact, I've given talks, and people have had people from the tech industry previously talking to them, and they haven't understood it all because they've spoken about the technology. But it's that understanding, and that's hard for but that's the hardest thing. And once you've got that, bang, you're away. With it, and it does take time. And the more you look at it, all of a sudden it will start to make sense.
Yeah.
Or there's people like me, and I understood it straight away. But that's the way my brain works.
Awesome.
That way, but yeah.
Well,
maybe I'm mad.
Hey, look, we just really want to thank you for coming, spending a little bit of time talking with us today. It's been really, really helpful.
Really informative.
Seriously. And thanks again very much for taking some time. And we'll hope to hear from you again. I'm pretty sure if we've got questions, we know who to come and talk to.
Yeah, I feel like we would definitely like to talk again.
Yep.
So, just quickly, for people, is everyone will be interested in something. They'll have some hobby or some industry they're in.
Yep.
Okay. So what I suggest they do is they put the name of their hobby or they put the name of their industry in and just put in type blockchain. Okay?
Right.
And then they will see a whole lot of stuff and they'll be able to relate to it more because it will be something that they know. And that's probably the best way to do it. And that's one of the things I do when I give talks. It's right in this area, this industry, and then people get that. Because if you're doing something abstract, they go, well, how does this relate to anything I know?
Right.
So, there's nothing that this won't affect. Okay? It affects every aspect of our lives and business. So the sooner people get their heads around it, it's like the internet, but more. I mean, we can't imagine going back now before the internet.
Right.
I mean, your Wi-Fi goes down and it's the end of the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, I'll let you go.
Awesome. Thank you again, Alex.
That's right.
You have a good day.
You too. Okay, bye.
Bye.